welcome to One on One. I'm Vernon Ramaswamy, and I'm very pleased to say my guest today is actually a friend, Rian Merrick, who's a public relations officer for the Silver Lining Foundation. Welcome, Rian.
Good evening.
Strange having you in my studio for a change. Let's talk about the Silver Lining Foundation first. You've got a new project coming up. Also, I should mention, we're not just both being garish today. It's Anti-Bullying Month.
Yes.
And today is, in fact, Anti-Bullying Day. Unity Day. So we're both wearing orange, which is a color against bullying.
Yes, the one nation to wear orange in support.
So let's talk about the Silver Lining Foundation now. People may not know about it. You've done a few things already to gain attention for the cause. Explain what the cause is and the genesis.
Well, Silver Lining Foundation, we stand for anti-bullying, suicide prevention, and everything to do with marginalized youth, helping marginalized youth cope with like LGBT issues and such like that.
No, it's a UE-based group,
well,
but not necessarily. It happens to be at UE.
But so right now we are based at UE. Yes.
What is the ultimate goal, though, of the foundation?
The goal of the foundation, well, would be to create like a national movement of basically discrimination laws, issues, and anti-bullying discrimination clauses and stuff like that.
I think the best thing about the group is it really is young people working for young people.
That's actually exactly why we wanted to make it such a big thing, because it's the only group that we know of so far that is actually youth-oriented and run by youth. And that's exactly what we're going for, peers being able to do something. And so students and anyone on our level, youths, will be able to be, you know, an easy, simple connection with us, exactly.
Now, of course, a lot of people will start something or work with a group because they themselves have experienced some of the persecution that you're trying to fight against. Now, is that the case with members of Silver Lining?
A lot of our members, I would think, most I would say, they have dealt with issues, but I think that's also what's helped them able to deal with it and bring something to Silver Lining Foundation, because we have the background information, we have from the eyes of, we even have the eyes of from, like, say, bullying. Now we have people who were bullies, people who were bullied, and people on the sideline. So we have every aspect. We cover the spectrum, and together we can, you know, establish to do something to change, to change in society. So right now, like for our campaign, our anti-bullying campaign, the ripple effect, we have a video campaign going on where we're talking, having people say how they feel about everything. It's called the I Care, right? I Care because, and they'll say their part in it, what they feel, how they feel, send a message to the nation. And we're hoping at the end of this month to send out all these tapes, get them online, get them publicized by anyone, well, just for the nation to see that it is a concern. Because I think in Trinidad, people don't think it's important because they don't see it, or they just take bullying as, you know, a norm. And that's exactly what we're here for, to break that norm, to tell people that bullying is not just something you grow up with and to toughen you up. Mm-hmm. It's something that it has been proven that it will hurt the person or can hurt the person in the future. And that's what we need to realize now, before it's too late, before we put these people out there, and before, you know, they reach a point of, well, as we see recently, like the furthest thing, suicide. And
because of a sense of hopelessness. In fact, there's no escape from the bullying. It's
exactly.
Constant.
You have nowhere to turn to because everybody's saying, oh, you'll get out of it. Mm-hmm. It'll toughen you up. It's okay. You know, and that's not right. Bullying's never okay.
No, over the last few years, certainly in the US and other parts of the world, we've seen a greater emphasis on fighting against bullying in schools because it is recognized as damaging to young people. We haven't heard much of that conversation here, though, have we? And yet we know it goes on. I mean, many of us have experienced it personally.
I think that's the whole culture of the whole thing, because Trinidad, we don't really focus on the coexistence, more on the function of Trinidad, you know, how the economy runs, oil, gas, you know, businesses, stuff like that, and tourism. That's what we focus on. When even like a career such as what I'm doing myself, psychology, that's completely overlooked. Like, we don't really pay much attention to psychologists and to any kind of development within the actual individual itself. And I think that's the major problem that Trinidad needs to be able to recognize, that we as a society, we need to like strengthen our people, not just strengthen nation, but it's a coexistence, and it does relate to each other. If you strengthen the individual and give us a stronger sense to be proud, a stronger sense to want to stay in Trinidad, to give us all the tools that we need to develop as a person, then that will affect the economy, that will help the nation in the long run, because we won't have to go other way looking for, work outside of Trinidad to look for everything we want. And like say, bringing it back to the individual aspect, give us the tools to develop as Trinidad. Give us the laws, the senses of, belonging, so that people who just don't fit into the engineer, the doctor, they have somewhere to go, they have something to do, and they have a place in Trinidad to be also. And therefore, if we do that in Trinidad, that's our future right there.
I think it's really interesting.
Trinidad.
But you keep mentioning Trinidad. That's important, isn't it? Because it's an indigenous, Silver Lining Foundation is an indigenous organization. You didn't decide to tag on to one of the existing international organizations.
No.
It's really meant for Trinidad and Tobagonians.
Well, right now we're starting at Trinidad and Tobago because, that's our major problem. Our problem right now is directed in Trinidad and Tobago. And as youths and everything, it's a little bit more difficult to just completely do it internationally right now. So the best thing to do is first, right now we're trying to get established as a, we have our NGO thing going right now, and we're trying to work that out to get fully established as an NGO. And then after that, we have, as you say, international. We have something international coming up, which is called, we're partnering with CADVA, and which is an international organization, and also we have a PACER campaign, which is Parents Advocation Coalition for Educational Rights. And what we're trying to do right now in terms of Bullying Month, today, PACER has developed a toolkit for schools, which they allow students to be able to, teachers and educational system basically, to teach children about bullying, how to prevent, how to interact, how to deal with issues, how to deal with the bullied, how to deal with bullies, and just raise the awareness for children. Like right now, what we are doing for Bullying Month, also we're trying to get this PACER toolkit into schools, trying to get teachers to, the educational system to take heed to this bullying issue, right? PACER primary toolkit for primary schools, secondary schools toolkit also, and the primary school toolkit, it's fun. It's fun and educational. Have teachers talk through games, role play, stuff like that. Show them videos and stuff, things to get them involved, aware, and also like the parents, and because hopefully these children will go home and get their parents involved. And the parents are the ones with the power who can make the bigger change. So hopefully they push for it also. And in secondary schools, which I can more relate to. So the toolkit runs for a week, and it starts with assembly. Principal speaks, today's topic will be so-and-so. And at the end of the day, in a class for they have a short, not even a test, but a quiz, a little quiz, just, how do you notice a bully, how you know when somebody is being bullied, or what are the signs of, somebody excluded like that. And and what they do at the end of it for their week, they want each class to do a video. They call it the rewind video, where they play out a scenario, and then they take, at the ending of it, you rewind the situation and see what would have taken place the other way. And
if there had been some intervention or,
Exactly. And they encouraging it to be like a film festival for the school, right? So it sounds really interesting, and it sounds like something that students will very much be into. It's just for the educational system, to
adopt it.
The Ministry of Education to take heed to this bullying issue. And right now, we're hoping at least to accomplish that much in this month, so that Trinidad does realize that it is an issue. And I think if you can see that as well, from the extent now, we have so much crime and violence and everything, and children are being taught to toughen up and to take matters into their own hands, and normally it's in a violent way. And I don't think that fighting violence with violence is a very productive way of doing something. So
just starts to snowball at that point and
exactly.
Control.
You're going to have these children, deal with their own issues in a vile manner, and that in itself is bullying.
In terms of, you mentioned, I know the peer component is very important, because for a lot of bullied kids, certainly, it is a sense of isolation as well, that they're the only person in the world who's suffering through this and they have nobody to turn to.
Exactly.
And having a peer really can be a huge step up for them in terms of helping themselves get out of it.
The reason is that's exactly what we're here for, to bring awareness, because children, they really don't have anybody to turn to as far as they know, because nobody's talking about it. Bullying, weakness is a taboo topic. Anything that, hurts you or you're not able to deal with in Trinidad is a taboo topic, because the individuals who's weaker than somebody else is put down, where it's not really a fault of their own or anything like that. It's just there will always be somebody physically bigger, physically stronger, more powerful than you are, more dominant. And that's exactly what we're trying to break, that whole, barrier between either your survival of the fittest or, you fall below society. Because coexistence is the key, right?
And I think it's important that you're leveraging new media as well to try and get the message out there, because certainly, I mean, if a young person is at home or afraid to go to school, whatever, and they get home to their little area of safety, the internet's often one of the places they turn to for help, isn't it?
Because the internet is big, it's international. Yeah. You don't get advice just from the person down the street or anything. You get advice from, you could literally type up a topic, go in a chat room of a specific conversation, bullying, for example, and have people talking to everybody about the same issue, how they dealt with it, how they are dealing with it, and from any point of view. It's just an international way to get everybody to communicate together, and it's bringing the nation closer. It's helping us, because even as we have PACER now, we could implement a PACER toolkit into Trinidad, and that's one way of getting everything started. And we're hoping that it happens. Everything. We're trying to get the like I say, Ministry of Education to implement this PACER policy.
Well, the thing is, I guess even if they don't, at least you've started with the ripple effect, so people can access the videos at least.
Well,
even if they're not at school.
Yes, the videos. We're trying to get any kind of media source, every media source, TV channels. Anybody who wants to put us on air.
But you're not begging. You're certainly looking for the exposure, right?
Exactly, because this is a topic. It's awareness and exposure. Trinidad media has a big influence. So everybody watches TV, everybody watches news. And like I said, we'll have the videos of scenarios and stuff, and people speaking about it. And we're trying to get celebrities and stuff like that to endorse it also. And I think, when we get those videos out there, people will take a little bit more heed to it. People will understand a bit more what's going on and realize how serious this issue really is. Do
you think it'll start to sort of get the ball rolling? Because I know if you look at the US, it gets better. That just completely flew out of the control of Dan Savage. I mean, people were making thousands of videos and putting them up. Exactly. Are you hoping for something like that as well? We
really are, especially with the iCare project. After we release that on YouTube, it would be wonderful to see how viral that gets. People responding, iCare because. And if we could get that ball rolling, then that will continue for however long, and we'll make a movement in Trinidad, and it'll be amazing.
You mentioned, of course, at the beginning that marginalized groups are also a key focus for Silver Lining Foundation. And LGBT kids certainly as well. Exactly. That's an especially difficult area, isn't it? Because we've got a society itself that is highly judgmental and not particularly accepting necessarily.
Exactly, because it's also a taboo.
Right, so it becomes even more magnified in schools because it's okay then, because society says it's okay.
Exactly. And, exactly, if we deal with that discrimination issue and the bullying issue in schools itself, you'll see that there are the students in schools who are trying to do something also, but the fact of the matter is they can only go so far with it as their peers, whereas to do something at a school-based thing, you need the adults, you need the people in charge to want to do it also. And that's where we step in right now, to try to get, the people who have the power right now, who are at that point in their lives where they can do something about it to change. We're trying to get them to take the interest, because there's only so much we can do as young people right now before we can start our careers, before we have that say as them. And,
if you're looking for a sort of a friendly air from government, I mean, whichever government apparently, they haven't been doing much work in that area themselves, so I guess it's an uphill climb, isn't it?
It's because that they're not too sure where to, I think the government is not sure where to take their stance on it, because it's really controversial, and I think for once I think our government likes to, give the people, they like to try to please the people a little bit too much than just, they don't focus more on the democracy side of it. They just like...
Or thinking what's right as opposed to what's politically expedient.
Exactly. And I think people, the government need to listen to their people a little bit more. Like, because, I mean, our issues, the violence and the crime and everything, there's only so much you could do to say, we're going to fight violence, we're going to fight crimes. Why not break it down for, like, rather than, yes, deal with the issue, the violence right now, but how about, look at it from a future point of view, as in deal with the generation that you're raising right now, and the message is sending towards it. It's like, don't glorify, the effects of how violence can, make you rich, make you powerful and everything. Try to get that in a different way towards the younger population. As of, if you can get that primary school toolkit of PACER into primary schools, you have just created such a big impact on those children. Because if they get involved, I mean, children, they're easy to expose things to, and they're very quick to take heed to any social change, right? Any kind of social influence. Very quick to want to take heed to it. And if we could get their peers involved, get the adults right above them to get involved in it, and to show them why it's a good thing, why helping others, being kind, something simple as that is so important. And then they're going to want to do it, and they're going to want to teach their friends. They're going to think it's cool, And then as of every lesson we learn in school, we eventually learn that, it does help in real life. And, we can put it, that's exactly what it is, to teach these children that what, being nice, being, not bullying someone, helping someone out, helping the one who can't help themselves, a simple thing like that, could have such a ripple effect later on.
That's the name of the project.
And hence the name of the project.
Because, I mean, we're living in a society which is, of course, plagued with violent crime. And people forget that bullying is a form of violence.
Exactly.
It is violence.
It is, well, it can be exactly
And if
violence.
you teach young people that violence is wrong from an early age, that will carry through to the rest of society eventually.
Exactly. Because our teens have such a loud voice these days. They're doing so much within their schools, violence aren't just, the adults anymore. Yeah. They have the bullying in schools. They have the child, like the teenager who's have some problem with some child in school, and the end of the day, they call them out after school, and we're accustomed hearing about that.
Or seeing the videos posted on Facebook.
And then they post it on Facebook, and they get
which is double victimizing the person,
Exactly, and then you can see the problem directly with something like that, because in those comments, you see the people supporting it, glorifying violence. And that's exactly the problem. We need to show children that why would you glorify violence? It's destroying society. And we need to show them from now why it's such a horrible thing to do to someone, and how it affects them in the long run. And even if it doesn't, even if it doesn't affect them, most of the times it will affect their children, the other generation, their family. And I think that's another issue in Trinidad. We tend to not take anything into consideration of anybody else, like help anyone or anything else until it hits close to home. And that's it. That's why I would like if, people realize the big issue before it hits them so close to home, and then, well, it's too late and you can't do anything about it anymore. You can just deal with it. So help society, help yourself, help your family, help your generation, help the future generation by helping others.
Now, I've been having discussions about bullying in this program for years now. It's something that obviously is of great interest to me and concern to me. One of the people who speaks a lot about it is Renee Cummings, Dr. Renee Cummings.
Yes,
I know she's
on the show with you.
Yeah. But she's pointed out that certainly when it comes to marginalized groups, LGBT kids are actually in a much worse position because any other kids can go home and expect some sympathy from their family, whereas in a lot of cases, unfortunately, with LGBT kids, if they go home, their parents aren't any more accepting than their school.
It's kind of a double...
Yeah, and then society isn't going to be particularly accepting either quite often.
Yeah, kind of double slap when you're part of the community like that. Because you have more than just one issue to deal with. You don't have to deal with, you have not just the bully at school, you have the parents who aren't accepting, you have the family who aren't accepting.
The church that you would go to probably not accepting.
The church that you no longer want to go to anymore, right, because as far as you know, they aren't accepting either. And
is that where peers come in?
Well, I guess that's
the only avenue.
That's the only other option. As far as I see the members that I know of the LGBT community, that's the family they create. Their peers, your peers become your family. People who you can, relate to. People who understand you. Because as family goes, family tends to, they want to direct you in the right path, but they want to direct you in their right path, their ideal of your right path. Whereas you know yourself,
that's not the path you're going to be going.
That's not the path that's even applicable to you. It's not even an option for you to go. And that's where you get the peers, the people, your friends who normally been through life with you. They know what you went through, they know what you're going through, and they know what they can see you doing, what they expect of you also. And they become a lot closer sometimes than actual family. And, well, ideally, if you all could, if you are a support group for each other, and you all could go about life, helping each other, I think that's what they do, actually. As far as I know, it's like me and my friends, for instance, we help each other, we support each other. We, if any kind of opportunity arises for any one of us, we're like, hey, so-and-so will be interested. He'll be interested. Yeah, call him up. Hey, I have this thing for you to do. You want to do it?
So people looking out for one another, genuinely caring, which is what I guess they're trying to spread on a larger scale, even to schools, where the entire school body looks out for one another.
Exactly. Because, they're all in the same situation. They're all going to grow up. They're all trying to be these next engineers, doctors,
movers
lawyers.
And shakers of society.
Exactly.
In terms of if people want to see the videos, are there any actually produced completely yet, or are they going to be released shortly?
We don't have any finished right now, as in terms of the bullying campaign. The most recent video I think we have, on the event scale, was the Day of Silence that we did earlier this year in April. I think it was April. And it was a movement that we had in UE where we got people to wear red tape on their mouth. It's a movement for any discrimination and bullied LGBT students or teens. And the movement is to wear red tape on your mouth or on your neck or any to symbolize silence, right? Hence Day of Silence. And what we did, we had people wear red tape, as in crosses on their shirts, tape on their mouths, tape on their wrists, anything of the sort. And
you asked people to sign the banner as well.
And we had a big banner in UE's, right outside the food court. And it had "Break the Silence" on it.
And as I recall, you ran out of room on the banner, didn't you, for signatures?
Within like a couple hours, there was no room on the banner anymore. They had so many signatures, so many supporters. And they had people that came up to us and like, as far as we saw from other people, people were actually really mad for the fact that it wasn't broadcasted as widely as they wanted, because they say that they would have gotten involved more if they knew. And well, we had cards to everybody, like, you know, with the information, people who went about this their day in silence, right? And so they could tell people why they're silent, you know? And at the end of it, we formed a group. We came together as a group and like ripped off the tape and we videotaped it in such a way that you see the progress of the day. And well, I have the video. You can go on YouTube and check it out. Well, you've seen it, but yeah.
Well, we're actually out of time, but I want to make sure that people want to keep following to know when the videos are out. They can follow the group Silver Lining Foundation on Facebook.
You can follow us on Facebook,
Twitter.
I think it's at SLFTT.
Silver Lining Foundation on Facebook. Right? Silver
Lining Foundation on Facebook, Silver Lining Foundation YouTube, and yeah, and we also have our the Ripple Effect page on YouTube and on Facebook also. So yes, check that out. Join the page, like it, and look out for the videos that will be going throughout the month. The things that will be happening throughout the month, the updates, anything like that.
And the best way is to follow the page on Facebook, and you'll see everything.
You'll see everything. Get involved. We have our meetings after. We have our meetings also where people can come and put in give their input, and see what they want. The youths could tell us what they want to do, what they would like to see happen, everything. And well, right now we are at UE normally, so I just keep involved on the page, and you'll know. People
As with everything in the world nowadays, it'll be on the Facebook page.
It'll be on the Facebook page.
Ryan, it's been a pleasure having you on the program so much. Thank you for being here, and thanks for all the great work you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. You've been watching One on One. Join us again tomorrow for another edition.